प्रातः स्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वं सच्चित्सुखं परमहं सगतिं तुरीयं यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनं पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानं विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We will chant from verse number 18, verse number 18 to 20, 18 to 22 of chapter 8. अव्यक्ताद्व्यक्तयः सर्वाः प्रभवन्त्यः रागमे रात्र्यागमे प्रलीयन्ते तत्रैवाव्यक्तसंज्ञके भूतग्रामस्य एवायं भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्र्यागमे वशः पार्थ प्रभवत्यः रागमे परस्तस्मात्तु भावोऽन्यः व्यक्तो व्यक्तात् सनातनः यस्य सर्वेषु भूतेषु नश्यस्तु न विनश्यति। अव्यक्तोऽक्षर इत्युक्तः तमाहुः परमां गतिं यं प्राप्य न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम। पुरुषस्सः परः पार्थ भक्त्या लभ्यस्त्वनन्यया यस्यान्तस्थानि भूतानि येन सर्वमिदं ततम्। हरि ओम, वेलकम बैक।
Hari Om everyone.
Hari
Hari
Om.
Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om everyone.
Hari Om everyone.
Hari Om.
Hari Om to all.
Very happy morning.
Happy good morning.
Magic morning.
If only everyone was as kind as you. Huh? So beautifully you show me your face every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm not asking you all to greet me like Induji. Induji is Madhu, you know, Madhur. You were just singing Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Madhava comes from Madhurya, and that's Induji. So sweet.
We're all lucky.
Huh?
We're all lucky to have her with us.
I know. See, you have to have the capacity to absorb sweetness.
ये अभी ये कोई नहीं समझता है उसको सच्ची
हाँ?
बात। हाँ, और लोग नहीं समझते हैं इस बात को।
अरे जल तो सबके लिए है, बट अगर क्या कहते हैं, जो सॉइल होता है, जो जमीन होती है, उसमें
Fertile.
हाँ, वो कितना
अब्सॉर्ब करने की क्षमता नहीं है, तो
सही बात है।
जल्दी
जल का
क्या-
प्रॉब्लम नहीं है ना,
हाँ,
नो
वो जमीन बंजार हो जाएगी।
हाँ, सही बात।
करेक्ट।
Get it? So, with that thought, how many of you want to show me your beautiful faces? Please turn on your cameras. And not only for today, whenever you all want to share. If you all can invoke Induji every morning, then you'll always turn on your camera. See how sweetly she greets me every time. I never pay any heed to it. I'm just like, good morning, good morning, good morning. But today something touched me. Because today I got the capacity to absorb her sweetness. Okay, we'll start with questions. Where's our usual culprit? She's not here.
Yeah.
So why do we need to be introvert and not remain extrovert to pursue the spiritual in the persuasion of the spiritual journey?
देखिए स्पिरिट जो है वो तो अंदर ही है ना, मतलब in the sense that the spirit is the innermost core of your being. When I say innermost, what I mean is subtlest, right? See, when we say inner on the spiritual journey, we don't mean literally inner, right? What we're saying is that delve into deeper aspects of your being. All we are saying is that what we mean by extroversion, when we say on the spiritual path, you cannot be extroverted, or rather go introvert to discover yourself. When we say extroversion, we mean remaining on the superficial layers of your personality and simply reacting and responding to that and living your life. Simply reacting and responding to your gross material, physical, and superficial emotional layers. Gross material, we all know. Money and the importance we give to money. Nobody's saying it's not important, but is it all important? Gross, sensual, physical, nobody's saying it doesn't give pleasure, but is it all important? Is that the be all and end all of life? And superficial emotion. Most of our relationships and what we portray in our relationships are simply superficial emotions. They have a certain energy about them, but they're almost meaningless. Fast friendship. You meet someone for 5 days and you get really pally with them. That's fast friendship, and you certainly have a great time with them. But is that deep? So all we're asking you to do is delve deeper, because there's so much more to your being than just the gross material, physical, and superficial emotion. Deep emotion. Acha, not only superficial emotion, even superficial thought. Our intellectual engagements are limited to little bit of information that we have picked up from here or there, and then having dinner table conversations about it. Nobody wants to delve deep and actually get to the subtleties of knowledge. If people got into the subtleties of religion, there would be no wars. If people got into the subtlety of different worldviews and perspectives, there would be but no one has the time and the capacity to. Everyone is responding to superficial tendencies. So what that does, what an extroverted way of being does, it keeps you totally engaged and entangled in, sort of immediate changes. It keeps you entangled in very fleeting things. And it makes you think that this is all there is to life. It's the easiest thing to connect with, and then can completely drown in it. So all we are saying is take a pause, step back, and evaluate. Who are you? What are you? What are you looking for? When you start asking that question, that's when you actually start the process of becoming introvert. See, introvert and extrovert, the way in which the world uses it, they mean introvert is shy and extrovert is life of the party. We are not commenting on that. You can still be the life of the party. You can still be extrovert in that sense. You meet me anywhere in any social gathering, I'll be the one talking the most. हो सकता है, right? I've gotten better at that to allow others to speak. So nobody's asking that you don't have to be the life of the party or you have to be a shy personality in your shell. We're not using the word introvert and extrovert in that sense. What is the capacity of your depth? If you're capable of depth, then you're introvert. And if you are a very superficial personality, then you're extrovert. Yeah. Okay. Was there any other? I think did someone else ask a question besides Rashmi ji?
Yeah, hi, morning, sir.
I
Siddharth.
think Siddharth ji asked a question.
Hi, yes. One second. WhatsApp has logged me out of my laptop. So let me go onto a phone and see what are the questions. Okay, question. Apart from the pain and change of detachment, apart from the pain of change and detachment that we discussed today, life also has the potential to offer so much to the well-being of the world, nature, and to mankind. In fact, once attaining the level of the wisdom of Mahatma, it's probably the best position to be of such help. So why does such a cycle lead lead to the exit of the cycle? Why does it lead to the exit from the cycle? Very pertinent question, very, 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 very honest question. And this is where the idea of, in fact, very core idea in Buddhism also is that sort of you don't get truly enlightened until you sort of come back and help someone else also get enlightened, right? And you have the analogy of Plato's cave. Anyone knows the Plato's cave analogy? And that analogy is what really conveys this message beautifully, what you're asking. So Plato's cave analogy, it's a very famous thing. You can read it, and I'm going to paraphrase and I'm going to sort of add some masala to it. But the idea is going to remain the same. So in Plato's cave, essentially, Plato, the great sort of Greek philosopher, he talks about a cave deep underground where there lived an entire civilization. Deep underground in the darkness of the cave, an entire civilization that has never seen the beauty of land, the beauty of light, the wonderful rivers and the sun and trees and breeze and air. It's congested. It's congested deep within the darkness of the cave. Sure, they have a couple of things. They figured out how to live. They figured out how to get water. They figured out how to get air. They figured out a few things. But they're living in the darkness and stench of the cave. I hope you're getting the symbolism. It's very symbolic. He's talking about you and me, who is stuck in mere superficial perception, emotion, and thought, and hasn't seen the light of spiritual expansion, right? That's the cave we are living in. So this entire civilization is living in the cave, and they've developed all sorts of rituals and beliefs. They believe in some god, some cave god, and they've drawn some figures on the wall, and they all pray to it, and they all have some dance and drama and rituals around it. And every certain time of the year, they have some this Ratri and that Ratri, thinking it's the most potent time to pray to that God, as if some other days are not potent. So, in this cave, one man begins to question, what is this? Is this all there is? Do all this cave stuff? There must be something more. There's so much we haven't explored. Look at this. We've not gone beyond the boundaries, certain boundaries. They say, oh, don't go beyond that. It's too dark, it's too dangerous. Huh? Just like parents tell their children when they want to join the Vedanta Academy, no, don't. ये सब में मत घुसो. थोड़ा अच्छा है. If it makes you it'll give you a lot of practical knowledge, practical information. Stick to the practical information. Don't go to the impractical stuff. Atman, Brahman, Maya, Vaya. Don't go to all of that. So just like that, so in the cave they were told, don't go beyond these areas, it's too dangerous. But one person questioned, is this all there is to life? There must be more. And they had a voice within them. That's the voice of your conscience. That's the deep voice of expansion within you. And this voice convinced him. And when he tried to talk to others about it, they all rubbished him. What nonsense. Blasphemy. Blasphemous. You're going against the culture. You're going against our beliefs. What heretic stuff are you talking about? The God will be very angry against you. Don't do all of this. Your family will come into problem. In the cave also they had some Vastu Shastra. They said, because of the toilet in the west side of your house, all these thoughts are coming to you. I don't know if it's good or bad to have a toilet in the west side, okay? Don't. All I know is you shouldn't have a toilet in the north. But, so in the cave, they told him all sorts of things. But something didn't relent in him. He was unrelenting. This voice within him was eating him up. And so he set off all alone. He's like, listen, I don't know what you guys are telling me, but I can't sit quietly out here. It's not letting me. I want to break free. I want to at least go. I don't know if I'll be able to break free or not, but I want to step on this discovery, on this exploration. So he goes out into the darkness, just with a small sort of torch of fire. And he goes, he explores, he stumbles, he falls, he hurts himself. Maybe he gets bitten by some creatures. It's a little painful. No doubt it's painful. Even the separation from that civilization, from his near and dear ones, is painful. But something in him is unrelenting, and he goes on. And he battles the initial pain until he begins to see a change in air quality, a change in pressure, a change in temperature. He begins to suspect. This is all dramatization. This is not written in Plato's. I'm only improvising on his analogy. If you look for these details, what nonsense is he's making up his own story. But stay with me. It sticks with the narrative. Okay. So he begins to feel a change, and that helps him grow his conviction that there may be another realm to explore, maybe something more to explore. And he continues. He lives another day in his exploration. All until he comes to a place where, very curiously, very suddenly, almost unexpectedly, when he looks to the right corner, he begins to see a small sort of shimmer of light. He sees it. And that's when he realizes, I was right all along. All this pain was worth it. He knows he's getting closer to at least finding whatever he thought may be beyond there. And that gives him so much conviction. He sets off with even renewed energy. And he goes. As he's getting closer to the light, it's expanding until he reaches the mouth of the cave. He realizes, oh my God, I need to walk through that. He walks through the mouth of the cave, and then he breathes air for the first time, fresh, beautiful air. AQI sub 15. He sees the river flowing. He sees green foliage and so much abundance. He sees fruits. He sees a wonderful sun, mesmerizing. And he realizes, oh my God. Oh my God. Whatever he suspected, whatever he thought was beyond the cave, this totally beat his expectations. He couldn't have ever imagined what is Brahman, what is Atman, what is enlightenment. You can't imagine. But when you reach the mouth of the cave and you see it, it's something you can't express. You have to have the art of expression. And even then, the recipient has to have the art of understanding. Wow. And that's exactly what happened. He's like, listen, I have to go back and tell these people what they're missing out on. Because he still loves them, he cares for them. And he thinks he's going to convince everyone. He knows it. Everyone will believe him, right? So he goes back, he runs back, and he goes back to these people and he says, look, this is what I discovered. You are mad, you're crazy, you're talking nonsense. And you're driving us all mad with you. God knows what you saw, God knows what you experienced. You're imagining all these things. You're going against everything. And nobody listened to him. In fact, they were ready to put him on a cross. Nobody listened to him. Somehow he managed to escape the mob. But one person who was intently listening, one person, through this person's conviction, the second one also had an awakening of sorts. He wasn't convinced, he wasn't sure, but again, that same conscience that was invoked in the first person also was evoked in him. And he went to him and he said, look, I'll come with you. Take me to this land you speak of. Take me to the light you speak of. And they set forth. And they traversed the same journey. The other person also stumbled. The other person had doubt in the middle. Oh, am I being fooled into something? Is this person just... But long and short of it, they reached the mouth of the cave. And then the first man told the second, listen, I've done my job. I've brought you here. Now you go back and convince others. I'm going to enjoy now. I'm going to enjoy the breeze. You go and convince others. So that's Plato's analogy. Siddharthji, I'm still answering your question. In case you forgot what we were doing, I'm still answering your question. That's the cave analogy. Plato's cave. So, when you say that, yes, this knowledge can make the world a beautiful place, no doubt about it. Okay? But beyond that, it can even, what lies beyond? And when I'm saying beyond, I'm not saying something different from this, but your very perception of seeing this, the way in which you relate to this world that we relate to. I'm not even talking about the sort of more mystical things about it. The way in which you relate to the world changes, right? But that said, you cannot force others into this. You cannot convince others. Improving the world, changing the world is like straightening a dog's tail. No doubt you may be able to do it for some time, but the world will go back to its, whether you want to call it median or mean, sort of average, intelligence, awareness. So, yes, no doubt such people can be of tremendous help to the world, and they are. They are. But the most important help they can be of is to help another wake up and realize the truth they have realized. Because see, if you try to tell people who are not interested in what you're trying to convey to them, something which you have discovered, they'll say, यार lecture दे रहा है यार, क्या time waste कर रहा है, तो दिन के लिए तो कुछ काम नहीं किया, ये lecture ज्ञान देने लगते हैं. If I start talking too much, people start wondering, what went wrong with him? Something wrong. I think he faced a lot of issues in his life. That's why he went into Vedanta and all. I'm glad it helped him. And they'll say the same for you. Why are you doing all this? We're all okay with you, in your family, with your child, with your spouse, everything is okay. So the world does not know the value. Bandar kya jane adrak ka swad, right? So you're trying to help the world, but does the world want to be helped? So you can do your best job, and yes, no doubt, you are in the best position. You're the best person to do the job. So you can do your best in trying to invoke in another that same conviction that was invoked in you. But if you're expecting the world to change, many gurus have been disappointed. Swami Ramatirtha, he himself said, changing the world is like straightening a dog's tail. This world is dvandva. The nature of this world is dvandva, pairs of opposites. It cannot be a utopia. This world will always have joy and sorrow. This world will always have heat and cold, pleasure and pain, knowledge and ignorance. So yes, you can increase the net knowledge of this world. You can become a refuge. You can become a shelter for others to maybe learn and improve and help themselves with your support. First and foremost, you need to lift yourself to that level. And at best, you can help another. At best, you can help another. And Mahatmas, that's precisely what they do. They try to create a satsang. They try to create an environment. They try to create institutions that maybe help them. But I'm sure anyone who's truly a Mahatma realizes it's not for them to change the world, it's for the world to want to change. And the world is always going to have people who will want to change and people who will not want to change. The Kauravas will far exceed the Pandavas. I hope that answers your question. Well, I didn't touch on why does it lead to the cycle, exit of the cycle. Look, don't confuse two levels, right? But it's also very important for you to understand the theological, philosophical framework that what even inspires you to step outside the ordinary, what inspires the person to come out of that limitations of the cave, is the awareness that you're stuck in a cycle. You're stuck in a loop. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. And so I don't know what happens after you exit the cycle. This is all, interpretations and our understanding of what the sages have tried to tell us. I don't know. I don't know what happens after this. I don't know what happens after death. Theory of reincarnation is a theory. But what does that theory do to you? Where does it shift your thought? What does it inspire within you? How does it elevate your thinking? That's what is more important, right? Now, for all practical purposes, anyone who is truly moved by this knowledge becomes a beacon of light for others, becomes a pillar of support for others, right? And the net, the world is a better place whenever someone has lifted themselves up into a place of spiritual strength. They have an aura that inspires and supports others, no doubt about it. Yeah.
Thanks.
Rashmi ji, you're here. I thought I would get away without addressing your question.
No,
Question from chapter 8, verse 16. Brahmaloka refers to heaven abode, which is said to be supersensuous enjoyments for the meritorious deeds, but all these experiences are transitory. Okay. Here, these experiences, Brahmaloka, are transitory. That means this does not refer to the self-realized state. Yes, it doesn't refer to the self-realized state. So does this state mean the blissful state of mind which you reach before the self-realized state, which is reached after karma bhakti jnana? Yes. Brahmaloka is a state, or all the lokas beyond Bhuloka. And as I said, there are multiple lokas, right? It's not just one stage, but they are all talking about different stages, elevated states of mind. Right? Some people take it literally and think, oh, here is a loka which is X amount of yojanas away from Bhuloka, and X amount of yojanas away is that other loka. No. I mean, okay, if you want to go and explore, hop on to the next satellite going into space or something like that, and maybe go and try to find. At least for millions and millions of kilometers past the earth, they haven't found any other loka. So it's not meant to be taken literally. These are elevated states of mind which, as you access subtler and subtler experiences, your mind becomes more and more refined, right? You become lighter as a person. You become happier and more joyous. However, all these states are states of return up to Brahmaloka, which means that until and unless you want to go beyond Brahmaloka, until you want to go beyond the realm of creation, unless and until you want to transcend the cycle of birth and death, all other states are subject to return. Means you will come back, you will come back to an ordinary state of mind having reached there. And that is all dictated by karma. Right? Your karma, your punya will elevate you, and then as you exhaust the punya, you will turn complacent. Maybe you will start doing papa, and then you'll come back to an ordinary state of mind. Right? All he's trying to say is that unless you aspire for the ultimate, every other experience is temporary. Brahman existed in the very first experience before the time emerged, hence it's considered ancient. Question: when we say Brahman is ancient in this concept, what do we really mean? Because Brahman is infinite, so how do we call it ancient? See, we are trying to convey what is infinite, right? It's something that our intellect cannot comprehend infinite. Sure, we can use it as a word, infinite. But what does infinite actually mean? It's beyond the comprehension. But we try to explain infinite in all terms, in terms of space, in terms of... See, one thing is to think of Brahman as very big, very large. That's infinite. That's infinite in terms of space. So, but what is infinite in terms of time? Infinite in terms of times means what stretches beyond in all directions of time, before and after. And what is beyond before and after? What was there before the first thing and what will remain after the last thing? That is something that transcends time. So the word Purana, ancient, is used to convey that idea, that it is beyond what your mind can even conceive about time. Even the earliest moment of creation of this world, Brahman was there before that. Right? So that's what we mean. To convey infinity in terms of time, we use this term Purana. Okay, any other question?
So the physical body is our sharir. The subtle body is, I believe, is the antakaran. So what is this causal body? What do you call that?
The causal body is the Karana Sharira. And that is the seed from which your subtle and gross body emerge. So you are manifest in a physical form with this physical body, which is called the Sthula Sharira. But you are also manifest in a non-physical form, right? Right now you are manifest in the form of your thoughts and emotions and feelings. It's manifest. You may not show it, at least it's manifest to you. And anybody who's keenly observing will also be able to see that, okay, Yasho's in a bad mood, Yasho's in a good mood. They're able to perceive your manifest emotion, which you're trying very hard to not manifest. हाँ? तुम इतना क्यों मुस्कुरा रहे हो? क्या गम है जिसको छुपा रहे हो? Right? So that's your Sukshma Sharira, which is manifest in a subtler sense. But where is all of this coming from? Where is all of this Sukshma Sharira and the Stula Sharira coming from? It's coming from a seed. It's coming from something that is deep within, unmanifest. That's the source from which all of this is coming. So the causal body is the seed. It's the realm of all your vasanas. The causal body is all your vasanas.
So Sanchit Vasana stays there.
In a sense, or rather you can say that the causal body which of this being is essentially a part of the Sanchit Vasana, or is the Sanchit Vasana. You can call it that. Doesn't matter. The idea of Sanchit Vasana is just to convey to you that, oh, whatever is manifest is only a small portion of the total potential. So in that sense, yes, your causal body is far bigger than what is manifesting as this Sharira and this Antakaran. Right?
Sir, one more thing, when we were talking that the prarabdha cannot be changed. But we say ना अगर हम अच्छे कर्म करेंगे इस जन्म में तो हम अपना इस जन्म में भी डेस्टिनी चेंज कर सकते हैं. Because
चलो ठीक है, मैंने बोल दिया कर सकते हो. अच्छे कर्म करोगे?
हाँ.
बस ठीक है, चेंज कर सकते हैं आप.
Why I was asking this because there are many people who says हमको ये जन्म से मतलब है, मेरे को क्या मतलब है नेक्स्ट जन्म में क्या हो रहा है. So at least you have a इस जन्म में तो आपके लिए चेंज हो सकता है, मतलब things will improve.
देखिए, I'll give you an example, okay? Suppose you have a hose pipe. When you're watering your garden is very big. From all the gold and silver you booked profits and you bought a big house with a big garden. Uh, and now, for some reason, you want to water it yourself. So you bring a hose pipe and you fix one end of the hose pipe to the faucet, the water source, and the other end you're holding and you're watering. And then you realize that, okay, बहुत पानी डल गया है. So what do you tell? You shout out to your child or to someone, अरे faucet बंद करो. Now, there's a period, well, they may turn the faucet off, but some amount of water still comes through the pipe. Water that is already there in the pipe cannot go back into the faucet. Even though you have shut the faucet, water that is already there in the pipe will come out of the pipe. It may trickle out or whatever. That water in the pipe is your prarabdha vasanas. वो पानी already निकल गई है. And that's why it is here. That's why you are here today. You are simply that water pipe which is manifesting that water already in the pipe. Yes, and your faucet is still open, which is why more and more water can come depending on, how indulgent you are or what how unintelligently you contact the world. If you unintelligently contact the world, you are simply manifesting more and more vasanas and you're creating more and more vasanas for yourself. But जो पानी already है पाइप में वो है प्रारब्ध. उसको तो आना ही पड़ेगा. डरो मत प्रारब्ध से. डरो मत. As we said in the last class, someone asked the question, why is it a blessing? It's a blessing. It's what you have asked for. Or it's a result of, and it will only help your spiritual journey. If the experiences of prarabdha are good, all well. If the experiences of prarabdha are not so good, then adverse experiences build character, right? Adversity builds character. So use every situation and circumstance to elevate yourself. When you dive into the spiritual journey, you become abhayam, fearless. जो हमेशा प्रारब्ध के बारे में पूछता रहता है उसमें भय भरा हुआ है. When you are abhayam, both abhayam and surrender. Those two qualities, they work beautifully in you, and then come what may, देख लेंगे.
I just wanted to ask, as you said कि प्रारब्ध जिसको थोड़ा प्रारब्ध का ध्यान रहता है, उसको भय रहता है. But I feel if we are aware of a prarabdha, we take the right path. I mean, हर समय there is a barrier कि अगर हम ऐसे करेंगे तो इसका हमको नतीजा ये मिलेगा. तो एक you have the right path.
Is this रुचिरा जी?
Yeah.
हाँ, आपने पिछली क्लास में आपने पेंडिंग कर्म के बारे में पूछा था ना?
हाँ जी.
यही थीम है, आप यही थीम में सोच रहे हो, मालूम है. I'll come back to the same answer I gave you in the last class. That you don't. What will help you deal with whatever you want to call it, prarabdha, whatever, is a buddhi.
हाँ जी.
Okay. Now, the 99.99% of people, they don't cultivate their buddhi, which is why, first of all, is it possible to know prarabdha? You're talking as if, it's easily written. It's very clear. No, any vasanas are sukshma. It's beyond your intellect's capacity to conceive. At best, of course, in this tradition, we have developed certain tools. You all know which tool I'm talking about. To give an imprint of what is in store for you. But nobody worth their capability will tell you that yes, this is exactly what will happen to you and this is exactly what will not happen to you. These are all indicative, right? So, number one, they are indicative, they're not certain. Number two, most people don't have the buddhi to remain objective about this information. उनको थोड़ा कुछ बोल दो, उनको परेशानी हो जाती है. Number 3, you develop your buddhi, you won't even feel the need to know क्या होने वाला है, क्या होगा. The very um, restlessness to know what is in store for me is actually the sign of a weak mind, right? So sure, I am not disregarding, if you have all of this is good in a certain measure, and specifically with regards to astrology, because that is essentially the field which deals with understanding prarabdha, right? uh, and it's a vedanga, no doubt. It's a wonderful field, but most people, first of all, most people are not able to access it properly, and secondly, not many people exist who can actually convey the message of it effectively, accurately, and in a way that is actually helpful to others, so anyway, that's not the purpose of this class. Also, what I would want to tell, I mean, I'm not here to criticize or to analyze what other journeys or what other. All I'm saying is that the more you cultivate buddhi, the more you cultivate these spiritual values, the more you do sadhana, karma, bhakti, jnana, the less you will feel the need to know what is your prarabdha. All I'm saying is that. So, that's my 2 cents on this. Okay. Verse number 18. अव्यक्ताद्व्यक्तयः सर्वाः प्रभवन्त्यः रागमे रात्र्यागमे प्रलीयन्ते तत्रैवाव्यक्तसंज्ञके. अव्यक्ताद्व्यक्तयः सर्वाः प्रभवन्त्यः रागमे रात्र्यागमे प्रलीयन्ते tatraivavyaktasanyake. At the approach of day, all the manifested stream forth from the unmanifested, and at the approach of night, they dissolve there only in what is called the unmanifested. Beautiful imagery, and I want you to take a moment to appreciate this. See, the previous verse where he talked about the scale of time and the magnificence of creation. First of all, see, we've all grown up learning or hearing of different scientific theories about this created world, and of course the best of theories that exist today also have many question marks in them, right? The scientific community also sort of acknowledges that they don't truly know. There are some approximations, there are some understandings, and of course the entire Big Bang theory, but even within that field there have been so many disagreements and sort of new theories that come up. Point is, all of it is a mystery, okay? And no one can say for certain. There are multiple theories about multiverses and whether this is the only universe or this was the only Big Bang. And I don't know. I'm not an expert on the subject, but I want you to take a moment to appreciate what your ancestors have conceived. Right? These numbers are not meant to be taken literally, nor can they necessarily be scientifically, empirically measured. I don't know, and honestly, that's not the focus of Vedanta, to prove that these numbers are actually true. It's only to give you a scale of what your ancestors were actually conceiving. First of all, they say that Brahma, the creator, right? The creator itself has a certain measurement of time. So this entire created world, this realm which we call the created world, has a certain scale of time, and that, what is its relation to the scale of time of Brahma itself? So a day of Brahma and a night of Brahma is the time in which this entire world manifests and dissolves. So first thing you have to understand is, there is not one creation. It's a constant manifestation and a constant dissolution. It's like a wave that's rising up and falling into the ocean again. It's rising up and falling into the ocean again. So this world is not one creation. This world is a constant symphony of waves rising and falling. And these waves rise and fall in a certain scale of time. The rise extends for 1,000 Mahayugas, and the fall extends for 1,000 Mahayugas. For 1,000 Mahayugas, which is equal to 4.32 billion years, this world is manifest. Then there becomes a period of unmanifestation. And then it rises again because Brahmaji wakes up the next day. Right? And so you can imagine in the lifetime of Brahmaji, how many worlds will be created and how many worlds will dissolve. Even today, we are not certain about how this has come about, this world we live in. But thousands of years ago, this is the conception that they had. The capacity to even conceive this is marvelous. That's what I want to convey to you. Right? So, the day of Brahma and the light of Brahma, they who know this, they know day and night. They understand what is creation. They understand what is this Maya. Right? And he continues, he says, at the approach of day, all the manifested beings stream forth from the unmanifest. And at the approach of night, so at the approach of day of what? Day of Brahma. At the approach of day of Brahma, all the manifested stream forth from the unmanifest. So from the unmanifest, something manifests. From the Karana Sharira, the Sthula Sharira manifests. From the potential comes the expression. And at the approach of night, in the cycle of time, there is a night that comes wherein this unmanifest, for whatever reason, it loses its balance, it's done with its expression. Just like a wave, it loses its balance and it falls. I mean, the physics doesn't support it anymore, right? So at the approach of night, there is a dissolution wherein everything folds back into the unmanifested potential. So this world itself has its own Karana Sharira, as it were. If you think of this manifest world as a sthula, as a gross world, this world itself, of which you and I are a part, has also come out of a unmanifest. Right? And we've given it a name. In fact, in the Vedanta treatise, he's given it a name, and I'll pull it out actually in a minute for you. So both in terms of the macrocosm and the macrocosm, we are aware of the microcosm, and we often ask the question of who is the waker in the microcosm, who is the dreamer in the microcosm, as far as the individual is concerned, and the deep sleeper. So you are given three names depending on your state of consciousness. There is Vishwa, Taijasa, and Prajna. The deep sleeper, dreamer, and the waker. But even in a cosmic sense, right, the same theme has been conceived. The cosmic waker, the sum total of all manifested gross beings, is called Virata. Similarly, there is a realm of dream as well, cosmic dream, and it's called Hiranyagarbha. And the cosmic deep sleeper, that cosmic subtle body, the cosmic subtle body is called Ishvara. The cosmic subtle body from where all of this is manifest is called Ishvara. Just take a moment to appreciate this. That's it. It's magnificent. So at the approach of day of Brahma, all of this manifests, and at the approach of night, all of this goes back into the unmanifested. That's not the end. Tomorrow when Brahmaji wakes up, again there will be a manifestation. It will be a different world from the world we are experiencing right now. But this is the scale. This is the scale of creation. When you think of time in this scale, what is 10, 20, 30, 40 years of your life? Which life? This life, within this Mahayuga, you have had lakhs and lakhs of lives. Before this, in the previous Mahayuga, how many lives did you have? How important is these 40, 50 years? Everything you hold on to in these 40, 50 years. It's an immediate sense of detachment you feel. an immediate relief that, wow, I'm on this cosmic journey. And he continues, verse number 19. भूतग्रामस्य एवायं भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्र्यागमे वशः पार्थ प्रभवत्यः रागमे. The multitude of beings, all beings being born again and again, is dissolved helplessly at the approach of night, O Partha, and it streams forth in the approach of day. This multitude of beings being born and again, all of us, the sum total of all beings, not only humans, all creatures, all things which are manifest right now, they have come out of the unmanifest and they helplessly are dissolved. Everything is dissolved and destroyed. That is Shiva. That's Shiva. Brahma manifests, Vishnu maintains through the Mahayoga, and Shiva dissolves. It's dissolved helplessly through the power of Shiva, O Partha. And again, don't worry, that's not the end, because again Brahmaji wakes up. It streams forth again at the approach of day. In a different name, in a different form, in a different Nama Rupa. Naam और रूप अलग हैं. But the journey continues, and he also continues. Parastasmatu bhavonyah vyakto vyaktat sanatanah yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Parastasmatu bhavonyah vyakto vyaktat sanatanah yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. But there exists higher than the unmanifested yet another unmanifested being which is not destroyed when all beings are destroyed. Big but. So this entire world itself is a stream of the unmanifested causal body of the world manifesting into this expressed manifest world today, and it folds back into the unmanifest. So that's the manifest and unmanifest we are talking about. But there exists beyond this cosmic causal body, beyond this unmanifested, something higher. It's another unmanifest. Unmanifest means something that is not visible or not clear or not apparent to you, something that your senses cannot see or perceive. Beyond this manifest and unmanifest play, this cosmic dance, there is another unmanifest which is not destroyed when all these beings are destroyed. Nothing happens to it. Through the change of pralay, through the change of manifestation and unmanifestation, nothing happens to this second unmanifest, this higher unmanifest. That higher unmanifest is Brahman. In the realm of Brahman, there is Brahma, the cosmic causal body, manifesting into this world. But beyond Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, in that sense, beyond this entire realm of creation and dissolution, lies Brahman, that which is not destroyed, that which is not changed, that which is changeless through all this constant cosmic change. Right? So again, appreciate that the subtlety of this thought. How difficult it is to convey. What is God. This is God. God is this higher unmanifest. Unmanifest because you can't perceive it. But it's beyond what you are conceiving as, because we always think, oh, God has created this world. God is doing this. God is Akshara. It's unchanging. It's simply supporting. And it is neither limited to this world, it is Uttama Purusha. He's building up to all these ideas. All of these ideas we're discussing right now, I know some of it is going above your head. And it's very natural if it will go above your head. Which is why all of this led to the Vishwarupa Darshan. Arjuna didn't understand, so Krishna showed him. I am that fierce form through which all these manifest beings are helplessly entering my mouth and becoming unmanifest. Everything dissolves, O Arjuna. Don't be attached. Everything has a beginning and an end. But that the highest, the truth, the reality, Brahman, that is unchanging. That is not destroyed when all of this are destroyed. That does not start with creation, nor does it end with death. It is Purana, it is ancient, it is Sanatana, it is everlasting. One more verse. पुरुषः सपरः पार्थ भक्त्या लभ्यस्त्वनन्यया यस्यान्तस्थानि भूतानि येन सर्वमिदं ततम्. So this supreme being, this higher unmanifest we're talking about, it seems like something that is very far and something that is very inaccessible and something that is very different from all of us. No, he says, "O Partha, this supreme being, this higher unmanifest which we speak of, in whom all beings dwell and by whom all is pervaded. The supreme Brahman, in whom all of beings, all the beings dwell, and by whom all this is pervaded. From this, everything has emerged, and by this, everything has pervaded. It is the Adhar, it is that supporter upon which all of this cosmic dance is happening. That is attainable. You can reach there by unswerving devotion. Now, this verse also conveys to us why gods and goddesses were created. Because when you read this, you're saying, I don't want to go to this supreme being. It's not relatable to you. It doesn't speak to your heart. It speaks to a jnani, perhaps, the subtlest thought, one who is wanting to approach and truly understand the reality. But for our hearts, this doesn't speak.
It just disconnected. You should connect back.
My apologies. Okay, good.
We lost you for a couple of minutes.
That's fine. Yeah, my bad. So I'm just checking whether the live stream ended or not. No, it's not ended, so that's good. Okay. So, one can appreciate how this is so sort of inconceivable and unrelatable, as opposed to a deity, which is so much more sort of, speaks so much more closer to our heart. But anyway, he's saying that supreme being in whom all beings dwell, that supreme God, that Paramatma, by whom all this is pervaded, that being is attainable through unswerving devotion. Anyaya, unswerving, no other thought, right? It is indeed available with that bhaktya tvananyaya. And he continues. Well, we'll talk about this verse onwards in the next class. He's shifting gears in the next thought. So take the time to go through these verses and really again appreciate the magnificence of thought, appreciate the subtlety of thought, and as I've told you, the internet is sort of it's a vast collection of a lot of these ideas, and it'll send you down a beautiful rabbit hole of discovering, these various concepts of the various lokas. So do read up upon it, and all of this is meant to invoke in you that spirit of wonderment and detachment. That's the idea, right? It's not meant to be taken literally. It's not meant to scare you that, oh my god, which universe are we talking about? It's only meant to invoke in you how that awareness of how little you know, how casually we live our lives without ever contemplating upon these things, and how little we actually know about who we are, where we come from. This invokes that sense of wonderment, right? So with that thought, we'll conclude today's discussion, and I'm happy to take up any questions if there are any pending questions.
So I did go through a lot of information on the net. So they were saying that Mahayuga is ending, Abhi. So another thing is, so how is it possible for a human being to even come to this conclusion of so many yogas and all? And is it also, is everything Brahman, then is all this Mahayuga is also a part of us only? These are the questions which came.
See, again, a lot of stuff also exists on the internet where they'll be making fantastical claims, and there's a lot of fear also spread. Oh my God, in this yoga you have to do this, you have to do that, otherwise, So stay away from sort of anything that sort of, invokes a sense of fear in you. Ultimately, this is for your contemplation. This is not for a certain sort of, um, anybody who says that this is exactly what it is doesn't know what they're talking about, because this is not a scientific discovery. This is not a scientific theory to explain, it's not science. Please, I find a lot of people who try to sort of merge the two and, make certain conclusions about the world. So with all objectivity, take this for what it is, and what it is a wonderful concept to invoke that sense of mystery in you. Now let's assume Mahayuga is anyway ending. Let's assume that. Can you do anything about it? See, if there's any problem in an organization and you're a peon, who will handle the problem? The CEO will handle the problem. Now the peon will not do anything. So let the CEO handle it, yeah. Huh? Next week is the IPO. What will the peon do about the IPO? At max, they will be part of a cake cutting ceremony in the office. So there'll be a cake cutting ceremony for this Mahayuga to end. Just attend that. That's it. You can't do anything about it. As I've always said, that these concepts should invoke more questions than answers. These things are not answering the essential question, what is Brahman? Eventually, Vedanta says, no, this is all Maya. This cosmic dance is a Leela. So what is there actually? Is it there? To invoke that sense of mystery in you is the purpose of these concepts. Not for you to take it literally and then take out your astrological chart and do some calculation and say, yes, according to, this is the Samvatsara and this is the this and this is that. And in some text which has been hidden for thousands of years, it is written that this is what's going to happen. God knows what's going to happen. So let us have a scientific temperament and let us not mix the two. Having a scientific temperament is to understand what is the purview of something and what is not the purview of something.
Thank you.
So in Sloka 20, after the first pada, there will be Halant, and then it will be Avyakto, right?
Yes, it will be Avyakta.
Yeah.
Parastasmattu bhavonyah avyakto vyaktat sanatanaha. My bad. I think I was chanting it as
You
vyakto
chanted
vyaktat.
Vyakto.
Correct. It'll be parastasmattu bhavonyah avyakto vyaktat sanatanaha. Which is funny because vyakto vyaktat sits better. But anyway, it should be avyakto vyaktat sanatanaha. Avyakt means unmanifest. Vyakt means manifest. So avyakto vyaktat sanatanaha. There is a other than the unmanifested, there is a higher unmanifest. That's what is.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? If not, thank you so much, and we'll see you again next week. Hari Om. Have a good weekend. And
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you.